All right, everybody, welcome to the first ever Sunny Days in Detroit postgame show. We're live here on YouTube, Twitter. I don't think Instagram yet, but YouTube and Twitter. This is my co-host today, Pavo. Pavo, you want to say hello, introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. It's our first ever post game Lions show here. We kind of got this idea and we acted quickly.
Definitely. It's been something we've been talking about for a long time, so it's good to get the wheels in motion. And what a time. What a time. I mean, no time like the present. What a time the Detroit Lions and the Detroit Lions fans are living in right now. We're 8-2, and I'm going to say we because I put enough time into this. I spend enough money. I know you damn well spend enough money on this. 8-2 for the first time since 1962. The last time things in the United States were the last time the United States looked the way it did in 1962. JFK was president. My mother was born. I don't know what else happened in 1962. Marilyn Monroe died. So
that's
been a long
point.
time.
I mean, yeah, I should have looked some things up to see what was different then compared to now. I'm trying to think. What year did Detroit burn down?
Oh Jesus,
Detroit.
You're
the
from
city-
Detroit, not me.
What city? The city that Detroit burnt down. I should have known this, but Detroit burnt down in.
I think it was sometime in the 70s, right?
No, I think
Probably
it was in the
during the gas
50s.
crisis.
Burnt down.
Oh,
It was
whatever. Listen, right now things are good. You were at the game yesterday. You're a season ticket holder. Tell us what that atmosphere was like.
I mean, it sucked for a long part of the game. Let me like get just to kind of before the game even started, the things that I picked up. Because I'm from Philly. So I travel for most of the games. I lived in Detroit for up until 12 years ago. So and I became a season ticket holder 26 years ago. And driving into the city yesterday, we pregame we had to make a stop in Woodhaven, which is a city south of Detroit, at a Target. And what I'm going to say here is it's simple things, but just to show how different it is right now. We get into Target, and there's multiple people wearing Lion stuff. And if someone's listening to this that's a fan from a different city, they're like, yeah, that's what you expect on a Sunday morning. But people didn't want to invest money into buying Lions gear unless you're going to the game. You didn't want to go waste your buying your kid a jersey or a T-shirt or something like that because you didn't know if a player was going to be around in a year from now. And just going in there and seeing a kid wear a Hutch jersey, seeing someone wear a Gibbs jersey, seeing someone wear a Jared Goff jersey. I fist pumped with probably 3-4 people in Target. I don't think I fist pumped with anyone, outside of a game. And I can't even remember. It just didn't happen. So the atmosphere just arriving in Detroit is different. Even the little conversations I've just had with friends of mine, like, what are you getting your kids for Christmas this year? And people are like, I'm buying them a Lions jersey. Like, so the culture has changed here. And that what we're saying about the atmosphere, like, it was completely different here than it was other years, and that doesn't take away that this isn't a football town. This is a football town. People are just hurt. Yeah. Their feelings are hurt. They're emotionally drained. They've invested money. They've been, backstabbed by the organization, by players, by whoever. But nowadays it's people are believing, in this team. And that you felt early on in the game. Put it this way, people aren't sitting in the parking lot tailgating because they want an extra beer. They're making sure they're in the stadium to see the players being introduced. Every seat is filled prior to kickoff, and that you noticed. Another thing as a fan, you noticed people didn't leave early, even when we got down 12. You saw a few people leave, but everyone pretty much stayed in their seat. And if you watched the game, you saw a full stadium up until the end, where a lot of teams people would have taken off, and once that turnaround and once you hit JMO on that touchdown, the electricity just went through everyone's veins. So your artists, you felt it.
Well, you heard how loud it was when JMO scored that touchdown. Like, I mean, just at least from the TV broadcast, right? I can only imagine how loud it was in the building. But you almost felt similar to how we felt in years past as Lions fans. When JMO scored, like that to me is a typical like Packers Lions game of 5 years ago. And we're on the other side of that, right? So that's what that JMO touchdown felt like. Where the Bears were is where I felt like as a Lions fan in years past, where it's like, oh my God, this is like they're gonna win this game. Like we absolutely shit down our leg. We fucking blew this game. And you felt that with the Bears. Like the minute JMO scored, you're like, all right, there's life. Like we could do this. And they come out offensively and like they were playing aggressive for pretty much what 4 3/4 of a game, or 3 3/4 of the game, and that last drive they just played it so conservatively, and I'm watching this going like they're really gonna fucking blow this, they're really gonna blow and give it back to us, and they did. Like that's exactly what they did, and for the first time. Like we were on the other side of that. And I know we kind of said that against Kansas City. Like we said that a couple of times this year, but like this was one of those Lions wins where, like I said, we feel like we were on the opposite side of 5 years ago. So I don't care how bad the fucking Bears are. They're still an NFL team. They've got 3 wins. Like it's not, they're not a team that walked in 0-11 or whatever, 0-10, right? So like they were trying to win that game. You could say as an organization, maybe they're tanking, but maybe not because they went out and traded for Montez Sweat. So who knows? But that just felt awesome. It felt awesome.
Yeah, listen, I wrote down the kind of the exact same thing, and my note here was saying that was a typical. What the Bears did was a typical Lions loss in years past. Yeah. Now listen, I'm going to say we had absolutely no business winning that game. Once you got into the midway through the fourth quarter, once they went on that 90. I think we punted the ball. Golf got sacked, and then he almost threw that pick six that he threw over through Laporta that he should have been picked off, and we punted on the next. I think we punted with like 10 or 11 minutes to go, and they went like on a 7-minute drive and got a field goal to go up by 12. But we had no business winning that game, and we did just enough in that fourth quarter to keep ourselves alive. And that's typically what the Lions would do. A team would just keep themselves alive. We as Lions fans would watch the Lions play 3.5 good quarters of football. And we talked about they were so close to winning this, and they're going to be there. They're going to get there. They're learning. But 30 years of not winning the division, it took a long time to to get over that hump. But so that game was exactly how I felt as a Lions fan in years past. And to be on the other side of that, we're not apologizing for winning this game. I don't want to say we're sorry. We didn't deserve it. Good teams. Dan Campbell said it. We're resilient. Jared Goff's a resilient. When it mattered most, he came through. And it was a great win, and it's a great win for your self-esteem to be able to put a win like that on your resume for this year. To have that confidence that if you're ever down 12 again, I think Dan Campbell said it today. We knew we had a chance because we had 3 timeouts, and we're on the other side of the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, I mean, we say to each other all the time, like, it's not college. This isn't a PowerPoint system. Mm-hmm. What matters is wins and losses. And it doesn't really matter how you there was a lot of things that we saw in this game that were cause for concern, no doubt, because great teams shouldn't go down to the Bears the way the Lions did so long in that game. But what great teams do is they don't mope around and they find a way to get back in and give themselves a chance. And that's what the Lions did. So most of what we saw yesterday, I think, is correctable. I don't imagine we get another performance like that out of Jared Goff, at least for the rest of the year, right? Like 3 picks, even at Jared's worst, 3 picks is not normal for Jared Goff. Like, this is a guy that you could definitely nitpick his game, no doubt about it. He's not perfect, but one thing he doesn't do, and I think he prides himself on, is being careful with the football, is not turning the ball over, not making stupid decisions, not fumbling, taking a sack when you need to. So, listen, there was definitely more bad than good yesterday, but they won the game, and that's what matters.
It's all that matters.
So you got to have a short memory. You got to be able to move on quickly because the Packers are coming in Thursday. They're not their usual Packers selves, but they're still a team that's not going to lay down, right? Matt LaFleur's teams are definitely mentally tough, and they have the ability to score points. And on a defense like ours, that at times looks like Swiss cheese, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they could throw up some points. So,
yeah, you know, I mean, talking about listen, you're thinking about today, 2 games that probably a game of inches. You know, we're losing the whole entire game, and we pretty much the whole game, especially the whole second half. And 2.5 minutes into the game, we had no business winning, and we won it. Minnesota on the other end led the whole entire game, gave up a touchdown on a great play by Sutton to go up and catch a touchdown, and they lost it. And you know what? No one's gonna remember at the end of the year. No one's gonna be apologizing about this win. And it was a great win for Detroit, and they needed this kind of win. And it's and you know what? I don't expect them to be this performance they put out looked this sloppy at times of the game and made mental mistakes. This isn't going to happen against Green Bay. This is that game that maybe it happens once or twice a season that you have, you know, as long as they're a good team and what we believe they're in, that these mistakes won't repeat themselves.
all right. So, you got something else?
No.
So, I guess to still stay on yesterday, I guess if you could highlight a player on offense that you thought had a good day. We'll start with the good, right? Because we won. Let's start out with the good on offense. Who was a player yesterday that you could highlight that you thought had a great game or you saw something really good out of?
You know, I mean, I think like I said, I've gone back and watched a little bit of it, but I didn't watch like the whole tape of this like I typically do 2 or 3 times. But I think that the one thing that's sticking out and seeing what he brings to the game is JMO. Having that presence of being out there, and you see him catching that late touchdown. I know he was out there for a few key blocks. He even made a key block on I think it was Montgomery's touchdown on the game-winning touchdown. He lined up on the outside on the right side of the line, you know, and then he came inside and made a block, which I thought was a great play by him. But you know, you seeing how they're using him. And I think the previous week he had 51% of the snaps. He went up to 67% of the snaps. And it just being part of the team, being involved, I think he played a good game. And I mean, listen, there's obviously the obvious. The obvious is Montgomery and Gibbs are beasts. It's the best duo in the NFL. Like you can't pick a better one than them. And they complement one another so well that that's probably the obvious. And you know, I'm not going to give too much more kudos to our offensive line. We know what they are. So like I'll come and Amon does his thing, but JMO, I think is continuing to just step in there and do all the little things right.
I thought Dan Campbell should have given a game ball to JMO. I mean, hey, you gave one a Hutch earned it with that strip sack, sealed the game.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That reminds me of like the Ndamukong Suh days, of like the dagger in the game. That was awesome. But honestly, man, if JMO doesn't if they don't score that quick and get in the end zone, like I don't know that comeback happens, right? Because it sparked the crowd, it sparked the team, but it left a lot of time on the clock. I want to say that drive was like 4 plays, and I had gotten so mad at that point. I was so upset. Now, this was one of the few games I didn't have money on, but I had them in Survivor, and like it's the fucking Bears, man. We want to beat the Bears, and I just hit a point where I just got so upset. I walked out of the house. I walked around my backyard, took the dog out, and I come back downstairs. I got a bunch of people in my basement. I come back downstairs, and I'm doing something in my laundry room, and I hear everybody scream, and my brother-in-law Tommy yells, "There's life! There's life! They got life!" Yeah. And I was like, "Oh my God, we scored!"
Yeah.
And dude, credit to JMO, and I want to say, what was he out there for? Like 69% of the snaps?
67.
67, right? So
yes.
We're seeing more and more JMO, and even if he's not getting the ball as much, what I want to see is him out there getting snaps, even just being a decoy on defense. Like that's what we need to see. He needs live reps. He needs live action. He's not going to get any better on that sideline. He needs live action. The only way Jared's going to trust him is him being on the field more.
Yeah. And listen, when we score the first touchdown, you saw how much trust Jared had in Jamo. On the third play, when we got the ball back and we're down by 5, he went deep to Jamo. And he trusted him to go deep on that play. And
he almost connected.
He almost connected. And you know what? I'm not sure where the misunderstanding. Jamo looked like he thought it was good. The ball was going to go inside. It went a little outside. But that's the little things that they could correct. But going back here, like you talked about, you went and you were frustrated. You went for a walk, and you're inside. You're probably hoping you come back and you heard that scream, like, "Oh my God, something big!" I did the same thing last year. Lions Bears in Chicago. I was so frustrated with them, and this was kind of before the Giants game when they turned around and Agude made an interception, pick 6, return for a touchdown. I went upstairs because I wasn't at the game. I went upstairs and I told my girlfriend I have to go pee. So I went, and then I went pee, and I'm like, well, let me sit in here for a few more minutes. And I heard her screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And like I ran down. It's a pick 6, but it's the weird things as fans that we do. We get frustrated and we have to like go do something. Like I thought multiple times yesterday during the game, I need to go for a walk. Mm-hmm. But I really couldn't get away from the atmosphere. But I thought I need to do something. It's like I think like that's actually going to make a difference in the game. That's how crazy I am.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah,
absolutely. It's cynical.
So,
it's cynical. It's fucked up. But one guy I highlighted from yesterday, and it's not that I think he did like this amazing job, but I thought Dan should have shouted him out too, because he had a real difficult job ahead of him that day, and that's Colby Swordsdale. So Jonah Jackson gets hurt, can't play in the game, and there's a couple of vets behind Jonah there. Dan Skipper being one of them, and like credit to Dan and Ben Johnson and Hank Fraley, like. They said, no, we're going to give the start to our 6th-round pick out of a small FCS school in William and Mary. And, like, the kid held his own. And for a lot of that game, he was matched up with Montez Sweat. We're talking about a guy that was highly sought after, just traded a 2nd-round pick for midseason, a guy that's now making $24 million a year. This guy signed almost an $100 million extension. Right? And Colby is one-on-one with him for most of that game. Because obviously, if you're going to pick a weak point of the Lions line, you're not going to go to Glasgow, who's been in the league for 6-7 years. You're not going to go for that Pro Bowl center, and you're not going to try Penei Sewell. You're going to go after the 21, 22-year-old kid out of William and Mary. And credit to Colby, man. The kid never buckled. He didn't look phased out there. And listen, it helps playing in between Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, no doubt about it. But the kid held his own. And, a couple sacks yesterday. I don't know exactly how many of them were on Colby or whatnot, but, like, credit to him. Put it this way. He wasn't a liability out there. Because
not at all.
You see that, right? You see that in a lot of games where an offensive lineman comes out, the backup comes in, or the swing tackle comes in, and you just see a whole defense hone in on that. And they literally almost abandon one side of their line. They're like, no, fuck this. Go after the weak point. And you were not able to do that yesterday. You weren't able to do that, and the kid's only going to get better. I feel really good about him. Credit to Colby, man. Credit to Colby.
Listen, picking him out, and like I've seen Dan Campbell give coaches game balls, and there's not enough credit. I'm sure we know inside Allen Park what he means to the team, but Frank Staley, man, he needs to be one of the best coaches in just overall in the NFL. I mean, that guy, no matter
he's been around with Detroit. He's survived. Like, well, I don't know if he was there
he's
for
a Philly
Caldwell.
Guy. He was
he was definitely here during Patricia, though.
He was here during Patricia because I do remember when we beat the Eagles in the game 19. First game I went to when we knew. They gave him a game ball in that game because I believe his dad passed away that year and his first time back in Philly and something with his dad passing and stuff. But he's a phenomenal coach, and you know what? Whoever steps in that place, he has them ready to go. And Cody, you're right. Like, I'm not saying Cody's going out there and pancaking guys, but like you don't notice that he's in there, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
When you don't notice him, So, and he's showing us that we have options going into next year. We might have our future guard there, a guy who went Division II or whatever William and Mary is, to all of a sudden playing in the NFL.
What I think what I think is so important about this, and I think what he's proven and what we've seen as fans, and definitely what the coaching staff has seen because he played yesterday, he stepped in. He stepped in during the season, right? Like, and once again, they've trusted him. It's one thing in a pinch when everybody else goes down, because that's what it was in the past. Everybody else went down, and Colby was the last guy left, so they threw him in there. But for them to trust him, for them to trust him says one thing. And I think us as fans, we can sleep well come the playoffs, come December and January, where let's say Graham goes down or Jonah goes back down again or Frank goes down. They got to move people around. You know, listen, man, in the middle of the wild card round, if one of our guys goes down and we have to slot in Colby in there, like Colby's got that background of like, I've been here before. I've done this before. I'm not phased. I've had Montez Sweat in my face for 60 minutes. I could do this. Right. Yeah. So it's not like January comes and we have to thrust him in there and it's fucking 30 degrees and he's lining up against, that Philly D line and he doesn't know, like, he's seen it. And I'm not saying he'll be perfect, but he's seen it before. It's not going to be a culture shock to him. And that's so important for an FCS, Division I FCS kid, man. That's so important.
And listen, this what I'm about to say here probably doesn't matter at all about the game. But for me, I love to see it. Here you got a guy from William & Mary. Yesterday before the game, they're announcing offensive players. That's who they decided to announce coming out of the locker room. And typically your O-lineman just do your little jog out. Ragnar never does anything. Decker does his little hit on the head. And Peniel Sewell's crazy, so he does. But most teams, when you're at a game, they now the offensive line, they just run out. And Cody comes out of the locker room, they announce it, and he's banging his chest right out of that. And that got me jacked up. Like, that shows the confidence that you have in a young guy. And, a young guy comes out like that, banging his chest. He's excited.
He wants the smoke. He wants all the smoke.
Exactly. And if you're a Bears player and you see this rookie coming in, 4th round pick coming in, or 5th round, whatever he was, doing that, like, you're like, all right, let me pick on this guy.
Who the fuck is this guy? Yeah,
exactly. Banging your chest coming out of the locker room for player introduction. So listen, I give him props. That O-line is phenomenal. And honestly, if Jonah goes down, we got Cody. If Frank Ragnar goes down,
you have Graham Glasgow.
Glasgow has done a great job there. We've seen Decker go down. Peniel goes to the left side, and you've seen Matt Nelson or Skipper jump in there. And we've seen the one game where we had Nelson go down, Skipper came in, Skipper went out, and Cody then went to the right side and played tackle. I mean, he's a big part of this team now. He's a big. And you get hurt going forward in playoffs. You want a long season, you're gonna have a lot of injuries. Yeah. And you hope to have a long season. So to have these guys interchangeable, it's great. And you know what? We're also getting healthy. I saw someone write it like our injury report today. We had one no practice, and that was Jonah Jackson. And I don't want to get ahead of myself here because we're going to talk about the Green Bay game here in a sec. But I think Dan Campbell said we hope to have him on Thursday. He's going to go through a walkthrough. So the one player that didn't practice today, they're still hoping to have him. Everyone else is a full go. So the team's healthy. Yeah. So that's good. And on the other end, we'll get into Green Bay, but they're not healthy.
Yeah. No, they're not. A lot of guys on limited practice today.
Yeah.
I was looking at that before. Real quick, before we finish up with the offense, one guy on offense that played subpar you want to see play a little better next week, or maybe that didn't get that much action that you want to see more out
of? One guy. I'm really interested to see how this receiver thing is going to play out itself. We know what Amon is. It really looks like they're trying to now install Jamos that too, and it should be. He was the 12th pick. He's going to the game number this year. He came 4th game, so he's going about a game 7 year. So I'm really interested to see after. And then Reynolds, I think Reynolds is a 3. But what happens with that 4, with Khalif, with Peoples-Jones? How is that going to play out? Who's going to be that 3rd, 4th guy target on receivers? And I mean, one guy, the simple person I want to see him have a dominating game is Jared Goff next week.
That's
protect the football.
Stevie Mack's one of our notorious listeners.
Yeah,
and he's chiming in with Jahmyr Gibbs. Everybody loves Jahmyr Gibbs.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is just he's. I don't even know how to.
Godsend. He's a
godsend, and he's hard to bring down. his football IQ is so high. Just how he knew to catch that ball and get out of bounds. And not only get out of bounds, he has the speed to get to the corner and pick up 10 yards trying to get out of bounds. He's an absolute weapon. I think I was gushing over him on the phone earlier with you. But yeah, I mean, Jared Goff, and you know what? I think Sam Laporta have a bounce back game. You know, he really was. He didn't have a catch until the final drive. He had 2 catches, I believe, 1 catch for 4 yards. When it was on the first set of downs, we ran Montgomery for 4, then we threw to Laporta, and then he had another catch for like 12 and got out of bounds.
That was gonna be my guy. And listen, I don't think particularly. I don't know if Laporta had a great game or a bad game because we didn't see any of them. But yeah, from a production standpoint, listen. Elephant in the room. Goff played terrible. I think we know that, like, just judging off what he did in the end of that game, he's got a short memory. He'll bounce back. We're not going to see that again. We don't think. In terms of who would I like to see more out of? Yeah, Laporta's that guy, man. And he did have a nice on that 2-point conversion. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I did forget about that.
I still don't know why 2-point conversions don't count as receptions.
Yeah.
And this is totally off topic.
It doesn't count as a reception?
No. He had
That's
2 catches,
weird.
and I'm not – maybe don't count the 2 yards, but it's a damn catch. It's an important catch of a game. How does it not count as a stat? Yeah. Like, it's like totally – it will be ignored in his career one day that that didn't count. Like, it's almost a play that didn't exist.
That's so weird.
It's so weird. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, I used to always think, too, in fantasy – like I used to think, but then I guess it shouldn't because it's a 2-point conversion. But I used to kind of think like if a guy gets a 2-point conversion, it should be worth like 4 or 6 because you're still getting in the end zone. Like that's a hard thing to fucking do.
I agree with you.
But
really quickly to Laporta. You know, the other thing is, and Dan Campbell talked about it today, is it's really hard to get your offense going when you only had the ball for 19 minutes in a game.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I can tell you.
They dominated time and possession.
They timed it, and every time we had it going, we turned it over.
Yeah.
But also to the Lions' point, it's listen, however you say his name, Eberflus, whatever, that's dumb coach from the Bears.
Matt Eberflus.
So Matt, he tried to convert Justin Fields at the beginning of the year to pocket passing quarterback, and I understand why. He got hurt last year and all this stuff. But Justin Fields is someone that needs to run the ball to be effective. And I believe like before this game, going the 6 games, 7 games he played before he got hurt, he ran the ball for like 4 times, 6 times, 4 times, 8 times, 6 times, and he had 18 rushes. Some of them obviously were not by design, some were by design. You know, that part I'm not sure the Lions were ready for. You know, and they used him differently. And Justin Fields is still a talented guy. Like, I'm not sure what his career is going to look like, but, you know, I think that gave Detroit some problems. And it definitely helped them extend some long drives in that game. A couple things that I just wanted to talk about is and give kind of like your thoughts was the play. There's one play in the game that I thought was important where I think the Lions could have probably put them away. And the game wouldn't go so ugly in the second half if it did. Is, you know, we scored that key touchdown to go up 14-10 at halftime with a few seconds left by Amon. Then we got the ball to start the second half. I think we started with like a 12-yard run, completed a pass, another like 6-yard run, 4-yard run. And then we had 3rd and 2 like at the 40 of their 40. And we put Goff back in shotgun with no running backs in the backfield, and we get sacked.
He's sacked, yeah.
And we punt the ball, and they go on a 90-yard drive and score a touchdown. And I believe that was a
Craig
key
Reynolds
play to me.
on a kickoff after, which didn't help.
Yes, and that's
it goes back to a lot of the things I've said that concern me. Like, I love Ben Johnson, right? I'd rather I don't want anybody else calling these plays other than Ben Johnson. I have so much trust in the man, right? The guy's a wizard, and the shit he does, I couldn't dream about doing in Madden. However, there are times where Ben gets cute, and I'm sitting there looking at the game, going do you not realize like do you not realize how important it is for us to score? Like, there were a lot of points in that game where on 3rd down, like, you know, Montgomery would have a run, Jameer would have a run, or, you know, Amon-Ra would catch a ball for 8 yards, and it would be 2nd and 2 or 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. and we're like trying to get it down the field. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Get the
Yeah.
first down. First down needs to be the priority. Or if you're going to treat it like that, if you're going to use 3rd and 2 from the Bears 40 to chuck it into the end zone, by all means, go ahead and do that. But now you better treat 4th down like it's 3rd down, and you better go for it.
Yeah.
Like, because if that was your plan, if your plan was like, well, if it doesn't work, we'll just punt. Dude, we're only up by 4.
Yeah.
And they've run down the field, like, and I was getting the feeling like I knew this was going to be a long day from Justin Fields. So in my eyes, on the offensive side of the ball, you need to score as much as possible. Don't give them a fucking chance. So that's my complaint with Ben. I mean, he did it a lot in Kansas City. A lot of times where he got very cute about his play calling instead of playing downhill. You know?
Yeah, there's a game. Sorry, I got a little cough here. There's a game. It wasn't that long ago. It was 3-4 games ago where we were getting really cute in the red zone. I think it was a game where Amon St. Brown was going to throw it in the end zone. They threw some play. Every time we got in the red zone, we got too cute. But I agree. Sometimes I think we get too cute. We got a great O-line. We have a great running backs. And that 3rd and 2, I thought it was key. Because you take a sack at the 40, you got to punt it.
Yeah.
You know, you take a sack and maybe you're at the 12-yard line, 14-yard line on a 3rd and 2. You kick a field goal and you're up by 7.
Yes.
But at that point, I just thought it was important for us to have a nice drive, especially for the confidence of the team, because we suck coming out of the second half on that first possession. We're always punting.
It was more important for us to score and break the shitty third quarter vibes that we've had all season than it was to take a shot at the end zone and maybe connect with JMO or whoever that pass was intended for. I don't even remember. But yeah, it's stuff like that. But listen, that's in a way it's a blessing and a curse, but a lot of teams would love to have that problem. A lot of teams would love to have a coordinator that got too cute at times and got a little because you know what, man? A lot of that creative shit is also what gets us in the end zone.
It is,
right?
and you know what? Like, for all the negativity and people are like, oh, you beat the 2-8, the 2-7 or 3-7 Bears. The Bears D-line is having quietly a really nice season, and they added Montez Sweat, and I think they were the 3rd best rushing defense in the league, and we put up. I think we averaged 5.5, 5.9 yards a carry against them. And they got linebackers who struggled early in the year because, one, TJ Edwards came from the Eagles. Edmonds came from Buffalo.
Bills,
and now they're slowly coming together. And they got a great corner in Johnson. So that defense is slowly becoming a pretty good defense over there in Chicago. So Detroit needed what they needed to do. It's a divisional game. Came out on top. You had no business winning that game once the fourth quarter started. It wasn't your day. You turned the ball over 4 times, and you should have lost the game, and you won.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely. A guy on defense that definitely deserves a shout out, Brian Burns. I'm sorry, Brian Burns.
Brian Branch.
Jeez. Well, that's wishful thinking.
I wish we were saying Brian Branch.
I wish we were talking about him. Exactly. Brian Branch. Brian Branch had a great game. As the kid plays more and more, that confidence is growing. He's a threat in the run game. He's not as much a threat in the pass game, but he's getting there, and they move him around a lot. He's at nickel. He's at strong safety. There are times you're looking at him, you think he's a linebacker with where he's lining up, and so he's awesome. His speed's a factor, and he hits you hard. He hits guys hard. And what's nice about Brian Branch, that's a part of his game that I really appreciate, is when he gets a hand on you, you're going down. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he's got the jersey, if he's got your arm, if he's got your hand. Does not matter. If he's got a piece of you, you're going down. And that's a rare thing for guys in the secondary. It's a very rare thing. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great tackler. He had a hell of a game, man. I think he had like 3 tackles for loss. Like, he was putting up DN numbers at nickel corner yesterday. So hats off to him. He's been phenomenal.
Listen, there's a few games where I was called, but that's a great problem to have, right? When you're not hearing his name called. Brian Branch is he's an absolute He's an absolute weapon out there for us. You can, like you said, you could play him anywhere. And like I think we talked about it. He was somewhere in the 90. I want to say 99 or 96% of the snaps played on defense. Kirby Joseph was like 99, and Tracy Walker was 47.
Yeah.
So,
which that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot of where the coaching staff's confidence is in those guys. And
it's changing, and he's playing that safety X, linebacker X, whatever you want to call position he did in Alabama. Pretty much his IQ is so high that they're trusting to let him decide how he wants to play most downs, which is incredible for a rookie.
One of the most frustrating parts about yesterday was those bullshit ticky-tack fouls that he got. And listen, like, refs are the refs. They're on both sides. I get it. You know, it was not a well-officiated game for either team. Absolutely. But, like, illegal contact on third down every time, especially when he's not even in the play. Like, that's the most frustrating thing to watch, because you're watching a guy bust his tail, break his ass, and the Lions make a stop, and there's that flag. 5 seconds after the play, when the punt unit's coming out, it's like, oh no, wait, let's see what the flag is on. Oh, it's on Brian Branch again for an illegal like, what the fuck is it? Illegal contact should be like you stopped something from happening. A prime example was Jared Goff's first interception, where they called it a pick. No, he beelined it for Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Cranked him. The corner was waiting there. Like, come on, man. Call it on both sides.
Exactly. My problem is, you want to call a game like that, call it both ways.
Call it both ways.
It's like in baseball. We have the strike zone the same for both teams. This was on Brian Branch, but they had Jerry Jacobs pass interference or holding, whatever they called in the end zone on the first drive too. That fucking ball landed closer to me. We were sitting in row one. It did. It came right to me. That was an uncatchable pass. If you want to call holding on the play, call holding. You call it pass interference. That ball was so overthrown and out of the end zone that I don't care if you had Calvin Johnson on the ladder. He ain't catching it.
Pass interference was made. It is a penalty that is designed to be called when you stop someone from catching. Like, it's got to be a catchable ball. If a guy throws it into the stands, that's not catchable.
No.
Now, if you want to call that illegal contact, you want to call that holding, if he's holding the jersey, so be it. I get it. But even holding's also bullshit, because technically holding doesn't have to be called.
You couldn't get to that ball. That ball that ball literally hit the stands.
I know.
And
that was a third down. Overthrown. That was also another third down.
I high-fived with the security guard for the great toss he made back to the ref for the ball. That's fact. We high-fived. I told him, great spin on the ball. But anyways, so listen, that's good. I think I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about, a point I had wrote down about the game. One thing that's not talked about, it's a key point of the game, and this is really all I got to say about this game, is that we know how successful the tush push is. Yeah. And at 3rd and inches with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and Bears are up by
12, right?
Up by 9 or 6. They could have went up by 12 or 13. It's the second to last field goal.
Okay.
And they're up by 6.
I thought they were up 9, and that made that field goal.
No, the reason they didn't. No, that was the field goal with 4 minutes ago. But with 10 minutes to go, we held them on a tush push. A great stop by that D line, because if it was 3rd and inches, we held them, and they decided to go for field goal. And it's another example of how, afterwards, however you say his name, how conservative he got in that fourth quarter. Also,
shout out to Aleem McNeil, because this guy was, a poor defensive day, but Aleem McNeil was making it happen. Credit to him, man. He had a great game, got a sack as well. He now leads the team in sacks with 5.5. Aiden Hutchinson still at 4.5.
Aiden got one yesterday. He's 5.5.
Does that count, though? A
strip fumbles a sack.
Okay.
So he's at 5. They had 2 sacks. Hutch had 1. And listen, to Hutch, I believe Hutch had 53 pressures as a rookie in a full season. Yeah, after yesterday's game, he's at 58.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you the truth, I really don't understand what the definition of a pressure is. But
I want to act like I know, but I don't.
But I don't know. I don't know exactly how it falls.
You could show me something. I'll be like, that looks like fucking pressure.
Does it mean you cause the pocket to collapse? Like, what does it exactly mean? And to tell you the truth, I haven't looked it up. But but that's it. That's all I got really about yesterday's game.
We'll move on quickly to the Packers, I guess. We'll look ahead here. I don't think we'll be able to do another show before Thursday. So
yes,
we'll get into something here on the Packers coming off a 23-20 victory over the Chargers, I believe.
Yeah.
At Lambeau. They're coming to us. They got a pretty extensive injury report. We're down to 3. The only guy that may not play right now on that injury report looks like Jonah Jackson. Listen, I kind of going to say the same thing that I would say going into this Bears game. Like, just outscore them. Like, I know that's simple, but I don't have a lot of faith in this defense right now. It's going to take them some time to get it together. We're still waiting for CJ GJ to come back and James Houston. Like, find a way to tread water, get a few stops, and, protect the football. Protect the football.
Yeah.
Like, Jared's got to be better, and he will be, but Jared's got to be better. And Craig Reynolds, 2 hands on that fucking ball. And, not for nothing, we traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones, who is also a kickoff return specialist, a punt return specialist. Nothing against Craig Reynolds, and I know that I guess he just wants to get Craig out there. I get it, totally get it, but you traded for this guy. Why don't we see? I understand he can't run a bunch of routes because he doesn't know the playbook yet, but
yeah,
he knows how to return punts. He knows how to return kicks. Give him that opportunity, right?
I completely. I mean, listen, I'm not sure what Craig's Reynolds 40 time is, but I'm sure Peoples-Jones is faster. I think he's in the low 4.4s up Peoples-Jones, and but listen, what I would say is bad for the Packers is that, going into these 2 games, I was like, we probably won't show up and look the best for one of them. I expect the Lions to clean up a lot in these 3-4 days, and I expect them to look crisp. I expect them to look good. I expect Jared to look good. We play well on national TV now.
Yeah.
That's kind of, we're just known. We show up.
Very comfortable.
Cameras are on us.
Very comfortable. Absolutely.
With the injury report, I mean, I think Aaron Jones and the rookie running back went down within a few plays. I don't expect either one of them to play. Campbell, once again, the middle linebacker, is out. He didn't practice. They have injuries in the backfield. They have injuries at linebacker. They have injuries all over the field. Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? Good thing is most teams don't practice this week. You just go through walkthroughs, so that's good for the Packers. But I can't imagine. I really don't think this is going to be a game that is going to come down to the wire. My thought, might be wrong, but I think the Lions should take control of this game. If that means it's a 31-17, 28-10. I just don't see them having some sort of answer for the Lions.
No,
just don't.
I don't either.
People might hate me.
No, go ahead.
Saying that, Packer fans might hate me for saying that. I can't see it. We're healthy. They're not healthy. I just don't see it.
Listen, I wouldn't be shocked if they. I think this will be a high scoring game, mainly because of the Lions' offense. But I wouldn't be shocked if they hang 17-20 on us. That really wouldn't shock me. But offensively, you got to come out here and punch them in the mouth. Like, you got to assert dominance on national television. Yeah. And I think they will. They will. But make an asshole out of them. Like you should be.
I fucking hate them. Embarrass them.
Right.
Embarrass them. They
right.
I don't care Aaron Rodgers is gone. We still don't like them.
Right.
They laughed. I still remember, even though Aaron's not the quarterback, but, last year when they said, you have 4 games against winning teams or something ahead of you, it's like, well, one of them don't have a winning record,
Yeah.
It's their arrogance. They're arrogant still. They think it's so easy to find the next quarterback because they got lucky with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I'm tired of them. I don't like them. I never will. And I hope the Lions I hope they make their Thanksgiving miserable.
Fucking A.
To be honest.
I couldn't couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Listen, like we always say, come out.
They're good people, but you know what? I don't like you.
They are good people. Those the cheeseheads up in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, like I said before, it's not a PowerPoint system, but cover the spread. Let's cover the spread this week. Let's blow them out. Let's blow them out. Let's have a good time.
Let's win some people some money.
Yeah, right. Let's make a little scuttle back, right?
Yeah.
And let's get Aiden Hutchinson some sacks, right?
You know what?
This should be a multi-sack game for Aiden Hutchinson, right? Put on a show, do a little thriller dance, do whatever you got to do, get the people going.
Yeah.
Right.
They're gonna show up. They're gonna show up. I hope they go with the throwbacks in this game.
I would love to see. Have you gotten any word on that? Do you know what they're going to be?
I haven't, but I'm assuming they're going to go throwbacks. You know, there are a lot to wear. I believe that the NFL rule is you could have 3. You could wear an alternate for 3 games. Okay. So they said that they're wearing the all silver with the blue helmets. They wore it for the Raiders game, and they're wearing it for the Minnesota Vikings game. And that means they could wear one more game. Now that December 17th game is a TBA game against the Broncos. So there's 5 games that haven't been announced. 2 out of those 5 games will be moved to Saturday, a 4:30 kickoff, and I believe an 8:15 kickoff. And those games are, I believe, Bears, Browns. That's not going to be picked. Bengals, Minnesota sounded like a great game, but with Burrow out.
Yeah, that's it.
That's off the And the other game is Carolina on someone. That's not happening. So then you got 2 games. You got Pittsburgh, 6-5 team, versus a 5-5 Colts team. That sounds like a great 4:00 game for a Saturday.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect 4:00. And
100%.
Broncos, Peyton, Campbell coming from New Orleans. Yeah. Broncos are,
came off Peyton's
great fan base.
Coaching tree, yeah.
Exactly. And I think that game is that's the perfect game for Saturday night. So maybe they go throwback in those games in that for that game.
I'd love to see them do it on Thanksgiving, man.
I would too.
I really would.
It's kind of tradition.
Or if you're gonna and they won't, because they just wore it for the fucking Bears. But I love the All Blues, man. Like, I love that. I would love to.
Yeah.
You know what I would love to see them do? I would love, if they're not going to go throwbacks, it would be awesome. Wear your all whites and tell the crowd it's a fucking whiteout.
Oh, what?
The Packers come out.
I think they would have already. I think they would have already announced it. Yeah. But
that would be something cool, because the Lions never wear white at home. Never. I don't. No. Maybe that was. I don't know. Was that
maybe
done back in the 90s?
maybe for the playoff game here? Don't want to jinx us, but maybe for the playoffs.
All whites.
Listen, I'm ready for that playoff game. But I think they're gonna go throwbacks. Maybe they hold on for that, thinking there's one more big game somewhere for clinch the division. But I think they're gonna go throwbacks for Thanksgiving. It's a perfect time to show it. It's a classic. I believe this is the 85th Thanksgiving game the Lions have. And that's just a phenomenal tradition. I've heard people say, take it away from us. The Detroit Lions came back and asked the NFL to put them on there. You can't take that away from the city of Detroit. Yeah. It's a great day to be to Detroit. And if someone hasn't been down here for that day, it's phenomenal. It's an absolute great time. You're gonna have to come to Detroit one time for that. Really quickly, is there anything else you want to cover about the Packers?
No.
Yeah, I don't think
we could touch on a lot of stuff Friday after.
Exactly. In the future, we'll do another show. We'll break down teams a little bit more. One thing that I want, just going back to talk about it, is the way the Lions came back in that Bears game. Now it's just part of their DNA. They're a resilient team. It's who they are. They believe it, and I love to see that culture has changed. Another thing to do, we weren't planning on talking about, but a couple of things I'm not sure if you saw today in the headlines is, let's talk about a couple of injured players. Houston's practicing with the team. He's in Allen Park. What I find interesting is that C.J. Gardner is not in Allen Park. C.J. Gardner is not on the sideline during Lions games. I know he's getting hyped up and he's dropping bombs on his whatever the feed. He's going live on the Bears and all that stuff. And it worries me that is he this PR that he's doing for himself, that he's trying to brand himself this with his CD. What is interesting today is that I don't know if you heard what Dan Campbell's response was when someone asked him today in the presser, said, CD looks like he's close on social media, pictures that he's posting. And he's talking about being close to coming back. And Dan Campbell's response was, where do I have it? Dan Campbell's response was, I want to talk to the doctors that he's talking to. Okay. But I think there's more to it. I listen, I don't know if the Lions love what he's doing. I don't know if the Lions like that he's rehabbing away from the team. And now maybe they told him, maybe there's a doctor,
Yeah.
but he looks like he should be in Allen Park now. And if he's not back in Allen Park after Thanksgiving, why is he not on the sideline with the
He
team?
wants to come back as soon as possible. I mean, right? He's a guy that wants to make money. He's a guy that wants to play. I don't have a good answer, man. Like everyone's different, and every injury's different. I've heard of guys that the team, I don't know, like it was like a hey, check in with us type of thing, and he's a vet, right? Like James Houston's still on his rookie deal. CD's been around for a little while, so maybe they have some more trust in CD. Maybe CD has a specialist that only he wants to see, and you know what I mean? And maybe it's back home wherever he lives. Is he a California kid?
I think it's Florida.
It's Florida. Okay.
I think it's not in Florida, but maybe.
And I don't know. I'm just speculating. You know what I mean?
Maybe he's making more music.
I don't know.
Using his time. I don't know. Listen, I would love to have him back, and I love him. I was being from Billy.
Fair question.
I said
Fair
it in free agency. I said it in free agency. He's the guy I want. How much heart and how much he pours into the game. I just question right now, why isn't he with the team? Why doesn't he come in or fly in for a game and send us on? I know Dan Campbell said he saw him at the Allen Park. He showed up for a few days. It was great to have him around the guys. So Dan Campbell's saying, it's great to have you. Where are you?
Well, the one thing I could say to that, especially if he's from Florida, if he's on the sideline, although it's already the Lions, so I'm not sure. But like, for example, if the reason sometimes injured players don't go on the road with the team is because they're going to get taxed in that state because you technically made money. If you
get paid wherever the game's at.
Yes, exactly.
But I think CD's getting paid as if whatever
he's getting paid the same amount each week regardless. But if when they go, let's say they come to New York to play the Giants, he's not playing, but he's on the sideline. He's got to pay a New York State. He's got to pay a New York State.
Yeah, but I don't think that changes if he decides not to go show up for the game.
It does. It does.
So if he's choosing to stay in Florida right now, let's say, and maybe he's not in Florida.
I don't know how it works because he's getting paid from a team in Michigan. So I don't know.
I heard you get paid you get paid wherever your game's at. You get paid a game check from that state. You pay those taxes, those city taxes, state taxes,
and everything. Not in the state you're from, wherever the game is
wherever
played.
the game's at.
Yes.
So the Lions have a game in New York. They play New York taxes.
Yes.
For that game.
Yes.
And
if you're hurt and you go on the road, you're still paying a tax in that state.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, but I mean that's all I got. With them, I would love to see someone ask Dan a question. Ask him at what point will he join the team? Start his rehab and start his process towards getting better here. And listen, I really put it this way: if he's not back when they report like December or November 2nd, 3rd, or after a New Orleans game, I really do question: is he going to be back this year?
Maybe. I'm sure he will. I know he wants it. I know the team wants it. Maybe it's also the Lions doctors after the surgery were like, all right, he definitely nothing. Like, we'll keep checking up and blah, blah, blah. But like the earliest you could see this guy is, let's say, December such and such. So we don't have to check on him let's say the Lions set a date for him to come back. Like, hey, we need you in the facility on December 2nd to check up on you. Or whatever. Like maybe, because like I said, maybe he's got somebody he definitely wants to rehab with, blah, blah, blah. And maybe
the Lions Aaron Rodgers rehabbing in California, but Aaron Rodgers also came back that he said.
But he's also on the sideline for every game too. But yes. But Aaron Rodgers' role is much different than CJ's.
And Aaron Rodgers got different money,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I feel Aaron Rodgers is probably funding that trip all the back and forth on a jet by himself, or
probably.
Yeah. Probably. So no, I agree with that. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers runs that team, in New York. Gets headset eyes, communicating.
That's their problem now, man.
Yeah, but
that's their problem now.
Yeah. I mean, but listen, we'll find out soon. Yeah. So
yeah. We got anything else?
No, I think I'm good. All
right.
Anything you want to touch base on? Anything? Are you good?
No, I pretty much I got most of it out. Our Twitter handles, Instagram, everything's on the bottom of that ticker there. Follow us. Subscribe on YouTube. Let's get those subscribers up. The more subscribers we get, the more fun stuff we could do in terms of like sponsorships and just getting more shows out and doing some more creative things here at Sunny Days Media. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you're watching after the fact, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We will see you all Friday. Sunny Days Media football show is coming to you Friday instead of Thursday because of Thanksgiving. And we will be doing our post-game show as well Friday at some point. Look at our socials. We'll be posting it, and all the links will be there. So thank you everyone for tuning in.
And maybe we'll be talking about the first place team in the NFC. And listen, I hope you don't have a lot of money on the Eagles side because you told me like the money line. But
I just took the over.
Okay, good. Let's just hope for a Kansas City ass whooping of the Eagles.
I just hope both teams have. Well, yes, but in the interim, I need both teams to have fun and score a lot. That's what I need.
And I think that'll happen. But let's just hope there's no more Kansas City touchdowns and Philly.
Fucking A.
Yeah,
all right, Pavo.
All right.
Till next time, we'll see you guys. Thank you.
All right. Take care, man.